Hello and welcome back to the Magic Kathi show. I was actually not planning to do this episode, but after my meditation, I felt like what I saw and received, I just need to share this just as a food for thought. And because as I'm recording this, we are in Gene Key 41, and you can read more about that in the forecasts on Instagram if you are interested or if you have it present in your chart. But it's also the gene key or the gate in human design, really, that is speaking about the ingress chart of the human design new year that was also this week. It starts with Aquarius season. And that speaks to how we can approach this year, but really every year, because it's every year that we have that as the personality sun in the ingress chart, right, for human design. And so it could actually tell us that it is a way to approach life in totality. And I want to open that question, or not really, it's not really a question. I mean, it is a question. But Jinki, or the Gate 41, is all about, in the highest expression in the city, fantasy and daydreaming. So let us approach this episode and what I'm about to share with you as a possibility, as a daydream. And that daydream has this question attached to it, which is all about what if. So I want to open your mind and your energy field to the possibility that everything already happened. Everything already happened. So what if everything already happened? What if your entire life is already over and it all already happened? Everything already happened. Because time, in essence, and we've heard that multiple times, is an illusion, right? And I mean, as we move out of Pluto in Capricorn, and even the concept of time had to be dismantled and broken down because it's really an illusion. It's just a way for us to experience things in a chronological way. So to experience things that are already done, right, in a chronological order. And I think the best way to really wrap your mind, because it's so hard for the mind to grasp that concept. So how can we get the mind on board? And the best way is to think of a TV series, right? So your favorite TV show, let's just take from mine, like Gossip Girl, right? Or Sex and the City, or whatever, you love to watch when you were younger. So when you started watching, for you it was as if the entire plot, the entire story is still unfolding, because you didn't know yet how it's going to end. But the truth is, if you look at it from a higher perspective or from the external, right, that entire TV series, for example, was already discontinued, right? They didn't even, after, I don't know, the sixth season, they stopped producing any more episodes. So it was already over. But for you, it wasn't, because you were still in the experience of receiving, and that's a key word here, receiving the episode and looking at them and, watching them and receiving the story, basically. Because you, in your system, didn't have the full story integrated yet or watched yet. And it's the very same thing with your life, right? You're still in watching the experience happening because you don't know the entire plot yet, right? And when you go back after years and you decide to watch that series again, some of the things you've forgotten, right, that even happened. So you think you know the entire plot, right? You have that in mind, but then you watch it again and you start from scratch and you've forgotten what happened in season 4, episode 3, and some of the details you actually didn't even know happened. So that's really how life works in some way. That's one layer to wrap your head around it. So it all already happened, which can be relieving because it means that you don't have to do anything to make your life happen, right? It will unfold in front of your eyes, quite literally, every single day. So that might leave some of you with the question of, well, like, what's the point of anything? And so am I kind of like doomed to what's going to happen? And that's also not what's happening, right? So in the TV series, obviously, the plot is pretty fixed, right? It's all like staged. But you have the choice to choose at any given moment different TV series to watch, right? You can. So again, that's perfect analogy for your life. So at some point, maybe in season 3, Gossip Girl is annoying you and you're like, oh, I'm really not identifying with the character anymore. Like, it's so boring and so repetitive. Let me watch Desperate Housewives instead, right? And so that's how you can flip from one character that you play into another. And then your experience will change. What you are going to watch will change. But it's not that you are creating the plot. And that's the key concept here. The plot already happened. You're really just switching, surfing avatars, characters. And you can choose that. That's the point of free will. And you choose that by your energy, by your vibration. Why is that? And again, TV series, perfect analogy. You do that because what you really are, all you are, is a receiver. And that's the fun thing, to use technology as an analogy. You're just receiving. You're really just receiving frequency. And how do you receive frequency? By being the frequency match. So your only job is to take care of your frequency. I mean, how many times have I said that before? I feel like such a, repetitive kind of thing. But yeah, I am a broken record. That's the word that I was trying to find. Yeah, broken record. But I mean, sometimes it has to sink in like so many times. I mean, even for myself, it's not like this concept can be, your mind might be, okay, I'm nodding my head, I get it. But then it's like, do you really get it? It's a deeper layer, a different layer, that your entire system is like, okay, I get it, and now I can also operate from that level. And if you really get it, it should really create this sense of ease and relaxation. And I mean, every time I wrap my head around it, I just have to laugh and smile at our little selves being that receiver, thinking that we create the entire plot and all of the things and have to do so many things to make stuff happen, right? It's not the case. All we have to do is to have that discipline to really take care of our energy, right? And then we can dream of any dream. There's nothing that has not already happened, that is not existing. Like, literally, sky is the limit. It's like overwhelming in a way, because there are so many TV series to watch. I mean, so many. And if your life already happened, that also explains to you the whole concept of intuition and how that works, and deja vu, where it's like, yeah, it already happened. That's why it feels so familiar. Like, I've already been here. Sometimes we have those moments in life where we're like, why does this feel so fucking familiar? And you feel so fucking familiar because it already happened, right? And it can happen in so many ways. So the details, it's also the whole concept of this, what's it called? I want to say placebo effect, but it's not. It's the Mandela effect, where in one version of reality it looked like that, and in the other it looked like that. Both of them probably exist, there's no right or wrong about it. It's, in one version of the episode, there was maybe a red shirt that the main character wore, and then in the other it was a different color, and you're like, wait, there's a glitch, right? There's a glitch, what's happening? And so there are multiple versions of a reality also, and the life unfoldment that you are going to experience, and it's really based on some minor choices in your day-to-day life. You know, I think I mentioned that before. In one version of reality, you decided to have eggs for breakfast. In the other one, you had a muffin for breakfast. And in the other one, well, maybe someone came over and brought you breakfast, you know? So it's like, and these mini changes might not change too much about, you know, the trajectory of the entire unfoldment, right? It's just preference, really. And so your intuition, though, can guide you towards the likelihood of a more pleasant experience or a more exciting experience. And every time I say exciting, you know, excitement is your soul's desire and love for expansion. So excitement is not always leading you towards, as I said, the humans, you know, thinking about bliss and happiness and fulfillment, right? The entire reason for creation is expansion, right? We only exist here to expand and grow, and that does not always happen through things that we label as good, because that's judgment. And from the highest perspective, everything that leads to expansion is good. So even the things that we quote unquote label as negative, right? Because it's the excitement in the story and the growth in the story. Again, thinking about that movie analogy or TV series, if everything was always rosy sunshine and unicorns, it would probably not, you know, create a lot of tension or interest in us watching that plot, because it's very much like, okay, she gets the guy, they marry, they have kids, everything is just fairy tale. Sounds great in theory, but if there was not a villain in the story, and this period where we don't know if they get each other, or if she even is able to get pregnant, or whatever happens, right? It would kind of not excite us as much anymore, right? To watch the movie. And it's the same with our life, right? We are really just watching our own movie here. And maybe if we see it in that way, we can also approach the periods in our life that might feel a bit wonky, or, you know, we don't know what's happening next, like there's too much tension, the uncertainty is real. Maybe we can see that as, yeah, it's the necessary period to keep us engaged in our own story. In a way, might sound a little, you know, dramatic, but that's really what it is. If we would know everything, it would be boring. It really would be boring, and we would like, oh. And also, if we continuously watch the same thing happen and never happen again in our life, if we don't make changes and open ourselves up to changes, it also gets boring, doesn't it? I mean, it's like, oh, my whole life is a repetitive story. I'm not inspired or excited to watch it continue, really. And that's, if you see that play out in quote unquote the real world, that's where people are stuck in those 9-to-5 situations, the rat race, the matrix, boxed in the same old character all the time, watching the same thing play out all the time, the same relationship, the same things, all because their frequency, right, is not attuned to receiving a new program. And they keep watching the same old story, the same old thing, the same old movie, and wonder why they are bored. Right? And why they don't have any zest to even continue watching, but they feel trapped to watch the same program over and over and over and over and over again. Because they literally forgot that they can switch it by attuning their frequency to receive new TV series or even a movie, you know. So I just wanted to share that as a possibility, because it also opens us up to take control of what we are watching, right? So if everything already happened, I can simply choose from the buffet of what happened. I just have to choose here, right? Okay, that got boring. Let me switch the program. Let me change the script. Let me just watch something else because this is not inspiring me anymore, right? See that so many times play out. And in a way, what we do in meditation. And I've been wondering that too, how come? Because I spoke about that many times before, but if you're newer to the podcast or don't follow me for too long, what happens for me when I look at a birth chart, or just really am present with your energy field, I basically see movies in my head. It's the best way to explain it to you. So I see movies playing out in my head of like very visual what you are doing, and like I see things playing out. And I had that conversation with a friend the other day because I saw her doing something on Instagram, and she literally posted a story that I had a vision of and told her about years ago. And I was like reacting to that story, and she was literally saying like, you always knew that I would do this at some point. And I'm like, honestly, you're just creating or bringing my vision down to earth and posting it on Instagram. It was like watching my vision play out on Instagram all of a sudden. It was so trippy and obviously confirming. So what happens really when I get these visions, I'm not creating anything for you. I'm just tuning into the TV series options that could happen for you. And I'm watching them for you. Like, okay, this is the way, or this is the way the plot could turn out, right? This is the highest expression, the highway it could turn out. This would be an exciting story for you. Kind of that's what I'm doing, and I'm explaining it to you in a session based on your energy field, right? Based on your human design, gene keys, astrology, you name it, right? And my claircognizant abilities, I guess, to tap into the buffet of what we could watch here, right? What would be fun? Because I want you to have fun too, Anyways, I just wanted to share that, but I think we can all do that by obviously meditating. How many times do I have to talk about meditation, the importance of that? It's literally the only job that we have to do is to attune into source and see what's out there. What are the possibilities? What are the potentials? And what's the way? What can I receive? What are the options for me to receive? You have to see what's out there first, and then you choose, right? That's your power too. Instead of just, like surrendering to what's happening, when you wake up and open your eyes. I mean, that's one way to approach, right? But that's like watching a movie that you don't prefer all the time, where you're like, oh my gosh, this program is really bothering me. It's like jumping in your car and the radio station is just blasting a song or music that is really not your vibe, and you just suffer and surrender to it instead of turning it off or changing what you receive, right? By attuning yourself to a different frequency. And that's the power that we have. So let me know what you feel about this possibility, this daydream, this fantasy of everything already happened. Does this make you feel more at peace, less at peace, angry, more powerful, less powerful? I would love to know. Because for me, it really put me in the state of, well, then reality really is fun. Where I can lean back and watch shows really play out, right? Instead of constantly thinking that I have to create them for my entertainment. No. You're just a receiver, and you can lean back and watch the show unfold. But the key here is that you have a choice in what you're going to watch. Yes, everything already happened, but you still have a choice which movie you want to receive, which TV series you want to receive, right? So, just a short little episode of opening you and yourself and your mind to a different way of approaching life and maybe understanding this entire creation. And I would love to know from you if you would like me to share more of these things that I'm contemplating or, sitting with in my day-to-day experience here on Earth, but also meditation and just some concepts to think about. You always have to question reality or contemplate on it. It's not even questioning reality, it's more so, how does this work? This could be a possibility, this could be a possibility. And I am a Sag rising, so I'm just contemplating. I think none of this is the ultimate truth, but it's just a way of perception about creation, right? So take it or leave it, sit with it, see what it does to you. Does it bring more peace? Then take it, right? Inhale it. And if it creates more stress, then just leave it, And if it excites you a lot, then share it with a friend, That obviously is an amazing way to share some love, some peace, and also appreciation for obviously the work that I do and me sharing these things. It means a lot to me. As you have heard in the last episode, it's very much about when you take something in, what do you give back? And it doesn't always have to be money. It obviously can be. You can always donate. You can always, book a session or whatever to give back. But when you book a session, you really get something too, obviously. But sharing also, and sharing love, sharing appreciation, leaving a feedback on iTunes, for example, all of that is giving back energy. And it makes and creates a ripple effect, as I mentioned in the last episode. Anyhow, I'm going to leave you with that so you can sit and meditate and contemplate on what I'm saying and see how your reality maybe changes by approaching that life or life in that way. Maybe you want to experiment with it, So, with all of that being said, I pray that something in this episode inspired you to step in your magic, as always.